Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Writers Mindscape, the 01 podcast, number one writing podcast. Wait, we're tracking?
Yes.
We are tracking. We are still the number one writing podcast in the 01 podcast group.
Yes,
I'm
we
Tim.
are. I'm Adam.
And today we are on a new topic. Actually,
Yes.
a standalone.
Yeah, kind of.
We're going to be diving into the mysterious realm of magic in the coming weeks.
Yes, that's going to be our next big topic, taking over the next,
Several weeks.
You know,
A long
with how
time.
much you love magic and get into it, we could be there for the next 6 months.
Probably. I could go that long, too. And then the other 6 months would be pretty much your political intrigue and all that.
Oh, yes.
Of course. So, but yeah, we'll be diving into that. We will be doing more standalone, not serial, episodic episodes.
Yes.
Going forward. Where you don't have to be paying attention to every episode.
Right.
We will have to answer the first question of what is magic
Yes.
in the first episode, but then we'll be diving around to more different topics of that, so you can, it's not all serial based.
Okay.
But today we have an important topic that we need to talk about.
Yes, we do.
It is the look of your world.
Yes.
Adam, what does that mean?
For me, it always boils down to when your character looks around, what do they see?
Exactly. To me, it's not just what do they see, it's also where the fuck is everything?
Well, I mean, that's the next one. Is
Yeah.
like, then you go, okay, well, that's the room, that's the house, that's the neighborhood.
That direction leads to this place.
Yeah.
And the place after that, like...
There's this city, there's, you know, now we're building our worlds the opposite direction.
Yes.
We're going, hey, here's our planet. Here's this continent.
Yes.
Here's this subsection of the continent.
Yes, and that's how I generally do my worlds. Actually, I go from here's the cosmos, the cosmology. Here's the universe. Here's a section of the universe. Here's the
solar system.
The solar system.
Then the planet.
Okay,
Okay, you're going too far with that.
no,
too far.
I need to know that stuff. It's more out of my curiosity than anything else. Actually.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, the whole thing is like, what is the look of your world? And yes, it is a big part of it is where is things.
Yeah.
When you say this legendary ancient city that no longer exists or may no longer exist,
The ruins of it.
it exists in the northeast corner of the continent, and then somewhere else in the story you say this giant empire is in the northeast part of your continent, but nowhere near the ruins. Yeah. How big is the northeast part of this continent?
Yeah.
Did you really think that through?
Give yourself a map.
Yeah.
Draw, very quickly. I mean, even if it's just a little sketch, draw out, where cities are, what travel paths there are.
I am very much I love maps. That's one of my favorite things when I open up a fantasy novel and I see the map.
Yes.
I love it. Now, there's a big stigma, not a stigma, but a big, like, I can't think of the word. But the idea is that you have to have a map if you're doing fantasy. Let me put it this way. You don't have to have a map that's everyone can see.
Right.
In my personal opinion, you need to have a map for you at least.
So you know where things are.
And this can be a very crude map. This does not have to be anything fancy or well drawn out. It can literally be a scribble. Okay, this is roughly where everything is. Okay, good. At least you know where it is, so you can kind of give directions.
Yes.
And not do the whole everything in the northeast part of the continent, and everyone's like, well, you're saying there's 1,000 miles between these two places, but you're saying how big is the northeast part of the continent again?
Like, why is that where only the stuff is happening?
Exactly. Now here's the other thing about the map. The map can fit your story as well.
Right.
Like if you know the world, but your story you're telling, and the only story you're planning to tell in this world is in a very small part of this world, that's all you really need to know it.
Yeah, that's where your map should be then.
If you're going to talk about things that exist outside of this area, draw a crude map of where they are, just so they're not everything. Because if you ever come back, let's say 10 years later, and decide to tell a story, and you expand this, and you have to put something where you thought this thing is, it can be a little embarrassing to have that happen.
Somebody's going to catch that continuity error.
Especially if you're a well-known bestseller, your fans are going to go like, what about, you said this.
Oh, there's always that one guy.
Yes. And if I'm one of those fans, I'll be that guy.
It's that guy.
So, and there's another reason why you need to know the look of your world.
And that is
evolution, bitch. And I'm not even talking about the macro evolution. We're talking about micro evolution here.
Yeah.
You don't have to do the whole science thing in your fantasy world.
No.
You can completely ignore science. One of my ideas for how our worlds operate kind of defies science at the moment.
Yeah, it does.
But the idea is, even in fantasy, you're going to have micro evolution.
Yeah, I mean, you have the dogs, the wolves of one forest are not going to be the exact same wolves of this southern desert area.
Your finches are not going to be the same on a different island. Your hawks, your deer, your humans, your races, your species, everything you have on there. So if you have elves in different parts of the world, they're not going to be the same. That's one of the reasons why I think, like in Tolkien's Middle Earth, he's labeled as different types of elves.
Right.
It's the forest elves or the wood elves.
Yes.
Or something like that, and then you have the elves of Alderaan.
Yeah.
Which are a little bit different. Yes, appearance-wise they may be, but their cultures and everything.
It's cultures that are going to be totally different.
Yeah, their artwork, their structures, their archaeology, everything's going to be different.
For me, it's like looking at, we'll say, Europe.
Yes.
You know, the culture in England is not the same the culture in France.
Or in Italy.
Or in, Spain. They all have different... They're from the same region.
Yes.
But there is a lot of different cultures. That's...
Big difference.
And...
If you break it down to the level, like, far level, even their religions and their ideas are very different.
Right.
And that's the other thing. Like, but it also comes down to physical features that you're going to adapt.
Somebody could be, you could have an entire race of people or animals that live in the mountains.
Yes. I mean, look at the people who live in very cold area, like in Alaska, and the natives of Alaska.
Yeah.
They have more squinty eyes because of the wind, the sun's lighting off the snow. They had to adapt to that. Whereas the same thing as we look at the people who come from very desert countries, areas. They have a little bit of similar features, but they're more tan.
Yeah.
Or really dark skin because.
And then there's the northern Scandinavians, those pale.
Or
the beacons of Gondor. I can see them from here.
They didn't need to squinty eyes because they don't get a lot of sun.
No,
but they do have cold weather.
So yeah, there was hairy people.
Yes.
That there's going to be these differences
exactly
based upon where you place populations and animals and all of this stuff. And you do need a map to be able to plan that out pretty well.
You need to plan that out, especially if you're be doing your story's going to cover multiple areas of the world.
Right.
And you need to know this for when you're diving into the smaller areas, because at some point we are going to dive into races, we're going to dive into cultures, and the area these people habit, that affects. There's a reason why Japan has a lot. Their creation myth is based on something dropping into the ocean. Yeah. And the island of Japan was made
because they were able to figure out that they were on an island.
Yes. So that affected everything they did. So that's the why, even a bigger point behind it. Well, I think everyone should have a map, and you should publish that map when we're reading your story so we can follow along with you.
Yeah.
It's not a requirement.
No.
You, as a writer, should need to have something so you can keep track of this stuff.
Yeah, I got to get my map together really, really soon.
I did a map, and I showed it to Ryan last week. And because I had this really interesting idea, because we've already talked about how our worlds are really close to each other and they share an atmosphere.
Yes.
Now, according to the original plans, this one spot just kind of crossed each world. I pitched an idea where mine is actually in one location.
Yeah.
And it spins on the north and west access point instead of the north and south. Basically switching that. Whereas Adams would be there, and which would really fuck up the whole orbit of the sun. I decided to go against that just because I didn't want to go and research the possibilities of this and actually try to find some kind of science that could back this up. But I did actually come up with a solution for this.
Oh, okay.
It's when the elder god, the elder being, leaves we had the thing to stabilize it. They had to have it in one location.
Okay. Okay.
That helps build our story that we're going to be telling too.
I mean, my planet's still going to think that my North Pole.
Oh no, I'm not talking about where its location is. But that's the thing. Like there will be eventually the idea would be to save the planets. Is one, so it's not this one area that's wreaking havoc across the globe.
Yes. Oh, that changes my map. Thank you.
But it also says that it's one of the ways to help stabilize it. What we have to do, and it builds towards the story that we're going to tell. At the same time, but at the same time, we don't have to go into the whole details. So I have to redo my map now too.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's the thing. Like we're definitely going to be building this. Did you still have that photo I sent you?
Someplace
on my old map.
Yeah.
I think
yeah, you sent me that.
Yeah, post that just so they get an idea. Show you how crude my original map was.
Yeah.
If you have something like that, and then that's all you need. I mean, I have some mountain locations that we're going to use for it. I mean, those will be changed because obviously my idea has changed. The little circle area in the center.
Yep.
That was going to be the center point of where our worlds met.
Oh, okay.
So if you put that up there, they can see that. That's all going to change, but that crude of a map is all you really need. Just add locations where like cities, ruins that are important are going to be, and there you go. That's all you need.
Okay.
Hey, you have anything else to add to that, Adam?
No. I mean, I got one thing.
Okay.
Look, one of the reasons that you have a map, you have a physical drawing of your world.
Yep.
Is to keep it straight in your head.
Yes.
I mean, there are times where I've written things and I didn't have a map of what... I was doing a sitcom at one point.
Yes.
And I didn't have a map of the apartment itself.
Yeah, I'm the same
So it was
way.
like, oh, how do they walk down that hallway? Is the bedrooms down? Oh, okay, I gotta move things around. Oh, crap.
Yeah, I mean, I'm that exact same person. For the most part, if I don't have a map of the house, it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
If I don't have a map of the city or the town, it drives me nuts. If I don't have a map of a hallway or an alleyway based on like the bridges, it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
If it's gonna be a big, if it's just a quick scene there, then I don't really need it.
No.
But if it's going to be like an action sequence or we're going to have lots of stuff there, I need to know the layout in the general area for that because I like to give directions.
Yeah.
I've noticing a lot of cities and stuff like that, they don't, fantasy stuff, they don't really try to give directions anymore. Because let's be honest, it's not easy to make that interesting.
No.
But I like to try to do that. I may have to cut some of the directions as much as I do in some of my stories, but it's one of those things where I like to have that so you can actually, if I have a chase scene,
I mean, as long as you don't say that so and so had to turn and face southeast,
yeah,
to be able to see on the far horizon.
Yeah. Well, see, the hardest thing is to figure out to tell directions and do that when you haven't established what north, east, and south, and west are yet.
All right.
I had that in the current book I'm working on when a character shows up someplace. It's like, oh, which way is north? Like, I haven't established that yet, so I'm like, I can't say, oh, she looked north, because it's in her point of view, so she doesn't know.
She looks forward.
Yeah, so basically, so it's definitely interesting. But that's the thing. I'm very good at keeping like locations on a grander scale in general ideas.
Yeah.
But again, I like having that map for the visual because I'm a very artsy person.
Yeah.
I'm a very visual person, so I like to not just have it in my head, but I like to have it on paper as well. Because sometimes when you're writing and you don't have time to really like pull that up, because it's not easy to do, pull it up in your head and write at the same time.
Yeah.
Having a visualization helps.
Good. Cool.
Also, I'm going to add one more thing to that. Is also it's nice to know how many oceans you have and how many continents you have. Because
it's helpful.
Now, here's the thing. Let's make it very clear. You don't need to necessarily have that because you can, depending on where you are in your timeline of your planet, you can always discover a new continent.
Yeah, it can happen.
So, but if you've established that the world has been known,
yes,
and you say, "Oh, we found a new continent,"
okay, then you got to explain why it's there suddenly.
Yeah. Now you could do like what we had discovered recently, this year. There's a new continental plate we discovered in New Zealand.
Oh yeah.
But here's the thing. Usually in fantasy, when you say I discovered a new continent, you're talking about a landmass.
Landmass.
That wasn't there. So now, if you really want to be fun, I'm not going to say that idea. I got a really cool idea for a new continent. I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay.
Because I might use it on my world.
Oh, all right.
But you have to explain it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Anything else?
Nope. That is everything from me.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for you today. Let us know your thoughts on a map, your ideas of knowing the look of your world and how that affects everything.
Yeah.
Be sure to subscribe.
Hey, if you've got your own map for your own story, post it on our Twitter page.
Yeah, let's see if you don't mind sharing that for us,
or Facebook, either one.
You can go to my my Instagram, tgreenbooks. And you can actually see a map I'm drawing by hand. I think I actually have some maps I've made myself. But like I'm there. But make sure to comment down below if you do the maps. If you like maps, be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell. Wow, I cannot talk.
Join the notification squad.
Yes, exactly. So you know there. And if you'd like to know more about writing, I'm gonna be a little greedy right now.
What?
I do my own channel, T Green Books, on YouTube, where I talk about writing. I kind of take a topic, hit a few episodes, not serial, all episodic, and I post on videos on Tuesdays, so you can check me out. Adam will put a link to my channel.
Yeah.
In the description. He's like,
maybe.
He's going to. I will see to it, because don't forget, I have access to
that.
I know. And you're not the kind of person to go like, man, do I really want to change the password to lock him out?
Oh, there's so much work to having to do that.
Yeah, I know. So, but you can check that out. I'm also doing tip videos and stuff like that. You can follow me on Instagram as well. Do we have that's Zero On Podcast?
Nope. No, we do not have Instagram.
Yeah, I'm not. And I'd say I'd do one for you, but I'm not. I'm too lazy.
I don't. I'm too lazy for it.
Something we should probably.
I can barely handle Twitter.
I know. We should probably look into it, but
nah,
that's a problem for future Adam and Tim.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, have a good week.
Have fun.
Bye.